Radio Free Skaro!
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Radio Free Skaro, episode number 869. I am Stephen in Edmonton.
Warren in Vancouver.
And Chris in Edmonton.
I don't know if you've heard, everyone, but the Queen of Great Britain and Northern Ireland and Scotland and Wales and Canada and all the Commonwealth has passed away at this past week at the age of 96. Or to frame it in terms of a Doctor Who podcast, noted Doctor Who fan dies at age 96 because she did watch Doctor Who in the Tennant years anyway. Because
let's not forget her cameo during the Sylvester McCoy years, which isn't actually a cameo.
Not at all a cameo, no.
Involving corgis.
Mm-hmm. And sort of cameo in... was it Christmas Invasion?
It was Voyage of the Damned as voiced by Jessica Martin, who played Mags in The Greatest Show in the Galaxy. But
I was talking to somebody the other day about how Liz 10, when Meghan Markle became Harry's wife, I was like, yes, continuity has been restored.
Yeah. I was oddly emotional about the moment when it happened. For those of us, we lean heavy into the Canadiana here sometimes because we are Canadian, but it made us realize that we are very much, a monarchy. I don't know. I felt like I didn't realize how much of a monarchist or royalist I was until the Queen died. You know what I mean?
I wouldn't call myself a monarchist by any stretch of the imagination, but when I was not sad, but kind of like, when it happened. And the reason is it put into sharp relief just how much, especially here in Canada compared to like, say, the States.
Yeah.
It's so much background noise, like our money, stamps, whatever you want.
Yeah.
But just a lot of royal stuff is just everywhere. Like you walk by, there's an armory down 3 blocks from me, right? And of course it's plastered with, because this is part of the royal military. So if you just don't think about this stuff until something like this reminds you of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's like our... when we say about Canada, it's kind of when we talk about white Canada, it's a mix of like English and American, that's
true.
Those are sort of the two dominant interests with Canadianness sort of coming up the middle. But I realized that actually it's not so much British culture, it's royal culture, which is kind of because there's always been a royal fascination in this country. Certainly if you watch CBC News.
But the thing about that, though, is because CBC would show you anything and everything to do with the royal family, no matter what it was. Mm-hmm. Now that I see this all the time, I don't really notice a difference.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I went to visit my parents yesterday, and my mom was born in Victoria, BC, which is like, old UK capital of Canada, essentially. It certainly was when she was born in the
giant
40s.
Statue of Queen Victoria there as well.
Yeah. And she was telling me how her and some friends went to the theater in Sydney, BC, just half an hour away from Victoria, to watch the coronation, which is astounding. Like, she must have been like 8 years old. Probably now, as I think about this, I go, well, wait a second. They wouldn't have satellite broadcast that because that didn't happen back then.
It would have been a newsreel or a film of it, right?
I think they probably
later or something.
They probably sent the film around. Everyone could watch it, which is fascinating. The fact that she was probably like 8 or 9, and she that was a clear memory for her.
My mom remembers the coronation on the radio because that's how she could watch it. Right, the TVs weren't all that spread around at the time. So.
No, I mean as
especially
we saw,
in rural Saskatchewan.
Yeah, as we saw in the Unquiet Day, the Idiot's Lantern, that the coronation on June 2nd, 1953 was sort of the big impetus for a lot of people to get TVs. So, yeah, it was. Obviously, Christopher Eccleston is on the other side of the fence. He was very much an anti-royalist and was reportedly literally partying into the wee hours of the morning when Queen Elizabeth passed.
There's a bunch of his stuff that he said in past years that came back to the surface as well.
Yeah. I think it. a lot of people were kind of emotional about losing the queen, but not so much emotional about losing the head of the monarchy. You know what I mean? Like I felt more people sort of like grew closer towards the queen herself as a person because she seemed kind of nice and stuff like that. And
yeah, and she's been a firmament in multiple generations of people's lives. That's why. So yeah.
You know, it also, oh God, you know, they showed various clips. You know, she was in that video with Paddington during her the Platinum Jubilee celebration. But the video where they kick, you know, it made me think of really the golden age. Third Doctor was a golden age. It was probably the UK in 2012 and 2013 when they hosted the Olympics and then the 50th anniversary of Doctor Who, and it's all gone downhill since then. But like seeing that short clip of the video during the opening ceremonies of Daniel Craig as James Bond and the Queen, and thinking, oh man, those glory days. Everyone was so happy to be British back then, and then here we are now. So in a way,
I don't think three Canadians have any qualifications whatsoever to say how the British felt about anything at any particular time.
No, but you know what? I get the feeling just from seeing a lot of British people.
Well, okay, things do seem clearly more miserable now. Yes,
they do. You know, and Queen Elizabeth is sort of like the, you know, she's, you know, when she came to power in 1952. I mean, there were colonies in Africa, and now there's this. The world has completely changed in the last 70 years, and she's been the one constant throughout it, even more than baseball, James Earl Jones. And
wow, that is a left turn I did not see.
Nor did I. So it, you know, that's what I kind of felt sort of emotional. It was like just being part of that moment. You know, so many of us I've never known any other queen. Have never known any other regent in the British realm, and suddenly we have to say king. I have to say king all of a sudden with King Charles III. I'm glad he didn't like rebrand to like Arthur
George,
or George
Adolphus, whatever, something. Yeah,
because we've known him as Charles his whole life. Just stick with Charles. It's already there, you know. So, well, Chris, do you have any emotional impact on the passing of Queen Elizabeth II?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I was a little bit sad, I suppose. I don't know. For us, it happened, like for us in this time zone, it happened, I guess, kind of quickly. Insofar as, like, you know, you hear the reports about her being of ill health, and then she passes or whatever, and it was all in the, you know, mid to late morning kind of thing, and didn't really have time to absorb too much before, you know, before everything kind of just cascaded from, you know, everything up to the reports of her passing.
Mm-hmm.
I have to say I'm happy that I watched it on the BBC.
Oh,
BBC
me too.
America or whatever.
Yep.
Because it was very understated. Like the guy just says, and it's an old British man saying, "Well, we have word from Buckingham Palace, the Queen has passed." And then they have like a little bit of music and a picture of her, and then they have two old men going, "Yes, quite so," for about 10-15 minutes. I'm like, yeah, this is how I want to see this happening. I don't need to see a bunch of American or Canadian, for that matter. We're not immune to this, hyping it up, basically. Like, you know, not really. That's the wrong choice of words. But
yeah,
these guys are understated because they got to be. And I'm like, yeah, this is how I want to see this.
Well, I mean, you know, aside from the death of a person, I'm fascinated by the logistics of it all. Like, I sort of read up on Operation London Bridge, which is the plan that has been in place since the 1960s
which
cover
was kibosh too,
which is obviously updated over the years. But you know, there was so much, and this isn't just like. And then there's also like Operation Unicorn if it happens that the Queen dies in Scotland, which of course is what she did at Balmoral. But like the tendrils for Operation London Bridge, it went far and wide to like what does the monarchy do? What does the government do? What does the media do, especially? And everyone was saying like once everyone is putting on black suits and black ties on the BBC. They oh boy, because that's part of it.
Yeah.
You would like and in Canada, like the flags go up and down like they were supposed to be up yesterday on the Saturday because it was the king was officially proclaimed, and now they should be back down for the period of mourning. Like all the government sort of like says no announcements or anything during the official period of mourning, which goes until September 19th.
Recommendations of black armbands.
Yeah, like there's so, and it was just all like just ready to go. And so like I was almost kind of like morbidly fascinated by how much planning goes into this. And then you have to think about poor King Charles. There's go like, hey, finally this moment's happening, but his mom died, and that's sad.
Poor is one word I wouldn't say to describe
No, I know,
Prince Charles or any member of the royal family.
I know it. I mean, we're not here to debate.
Yeah, at the same time, sympathy for the guy because his mom just died.
His mom just died.
As a human being, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's a weird moment. These sort of these court appointed celebrities that we are allowed to gawk and gawk at, as opposed to having some other celebrity come up and occupy the oxygen. At least here's what we've decided. Here's the family that we obsess over in the media.
I'll take them over Machine Gun Kelly and Megan Fox. I'll tell you, and those are the only ones I could name because I'm old and don't know anything.
Megan Fox, goodness me. Wow, she predates Netflix, Megan Fox.
that old?
That old. I don't remember Megan Fox. Anyway, going back to the cynical Doctor Who angle, if you were hoping for a trailer or an announcement of a release date for the Doctor Who Centennial Special, you're not going to get it this week. It's not.
I don't think that was ever going to happen in the first place.
Happening.
So nothing has been changed there.
No, the funeral is happening September 19th, which means literally no news will be announced in this next week for Doctor Who, official, actual, proper news. You may take the week off to mourn the Queen and to know exactly what you know about the next episode of Doctor Who as you did before the Queen died, which is nothing. So,
yep, nothing.
Yep. So there. Anyway, we'll press on though. Talking about various, there was some Doctor Who news this week. A whole bunch of stuff that happened, mostly just Tat and all that, and of course the Timelash, which we'll get to later. But it has been reported on the website of makeup designer Steve Smith that Tom Kingsley is directing a Doctor Who episode as well for the 60th anniversary, one of the Tennant specials. He joins Chania Button and Rachel Talalay as directing what apparently are 3 different specials, which is quite something, given that that this production has been like... I didn't hear Tom Kingsley at all. Chania Button was... she posted on... Or her name was on a clapperboard, and then she posted on her Instagram that she was directing Doctor Who on July 1st, I think was her first day. And then she posted that on July 25th that the final day was happening. So that's basically a month right there. It's quite fascinating how much time has been spent on these supposedly 3 Doctor Who specials. But yeah, Tom Kingsley, who has directed several things, including many episodes of the BBC version of Ghosts. I don't know if any of you two have watched that, but...
Nope, I haven't.
No.
Not yet, anyway.
It's enjoyable enough. Better than the US one, if I'm being honest. But so yeah, directors of Doctor Who that we'll see next year, the very earliest.
Yeah, over a year probably. Yeah,
over a year away from new on-screen Doctor Who, but that's okay. What else we have here? We got steelbooks. We always talk about steelbooks as being a UK thing, and they are a UK thing because they don't exist here. Steelbook releases of Blu-rays and DVDs. Chris, do you have any from your time in the UK? Did you get the steelbooks at all, or?
Well, they didn't exist when I lived there. So,
did they not?
No.
Oh.
Are they called that because they're just metal tins? Is that why they're called steelbooks?
Literally. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay. All right. I always wondered about that.
Yeah. Anyway,
they might have different like artwork or inserts or whatever, but
yeah, they look pretty. They're more. I think they're mostly for collectible items, but I don't know. I don't know nothing about because we don't get them here. But the Series 13 specials, so they're called, has gone up on Amazon with temp artwork that says Doctor Who, the Series 13 specials, which is a word that has never been used to describe any of these.
Which presumably includes the Centenary special, which honestly, you're probably going to find out the title from Amazon before you do off the BBC.
At this rate, probably. Although the release date on the Amazon listing is December 31st, 2025. So
sounds accurate.
Yeah, very much a temporary placement. But yeah, apparently these things are coming out on the same disc. On a steel book, apparently, but not for us. not for us here in Canada. So,
well, it makes sense because like steelbooks are presumably, like you said, for collectors in England. So why would you? It's a specialty you buy in the first place here. So why would a steelbook be on top of that here or in the States?
We'll get the Blu-ray. We'll get the DVD.
Exactly.
Presumably here. So
yeah, still holding out hope, and I'm not hopeful at all that they'll repackage the Smith Capaldi and then once it's done the Whitaker era into a nice David Tennant sized Blu-ray set for my shelf, because right now it just takes up too much space. There's no reason why Doctor Who Flux or Doctor Who Series 12 should take up as much space on the shelf as one episode.
Get rid of some Lego.
No.
Get rid of some Lego.
No. It's wrong.
A deliberate provocation on my part.
I know. Too much space. Anyway, so those are coming. Apparently. Also coming to DVD. Hey, Doctor Who MI is coming to DVD on November 7th. This escalated quickly. It went from like looking for a distributor to finding a distributor to coming out on DVD, which is astounding. In the UK, at the very, I haven't checked anywhere else. I don't know if you have, Chris. Mm-hmm. Oh, you have?
I have checked, and there's nothing for Canada or the US yet announced. So or yet listed on Amazon, I should say.
Okay. Well, November 7th of this year is when Doctor Who MI is coming out in the UK on PAL. So that is cool. That is pretty cool because I like it and I'm in it. So get it, everyone. And then I can update my IMDb profile to say, there I am.
Are you? Do you have one?
You know what? I do. Somebody has created one, and I am there for my tiny appearance in the Doctor Who fan show episode that they shot at Gallifrey 1.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Although, oddly enough...
Is that the Nerdist thing?
No, it wasn't the Nerdist thing. It was Dr. Fan Show with Crystal D when she was host of that, and for some reason, that is my only credit, even though I have more.
I got that beat. I'm listed as a cinematographer because I helped a friend shoot something on DV for a day, and somehow because he put it into IMDb, I'm listed as a cinematographer on there. I am not a cinematographer. Oh. I can shoot stuff for work, but I am by no means a cinematographer.
Yeah, really?
Editor, yes. Cinematographer, no.
If I search your name, you also come up under Who's He podcast, episode 124.
Wow.
Our friend Phil Cannon's podcast.
I in IMDb? I didn't. Mm-hmm. Wow. That's
IMDb doesn't. There's the Empire podcast, the film podcast. They have a feature called I Am Debunker, where they ask celebrities if any of this is true, and 90% of the time it is not.
I like
with all
that.
The trivia bits about whatever, and the celebrity is like, what? No, that's not true.
Wow.
Oh, yes, look at you. For Gallifrey 1 2016, listed alongside actual people like Crystal D and Paul Cornell and Peter Davison.
Stephen is an actual person. How dare you?
You know what? I should be there more because when I worked at Super Channel, a TV station here in Canada, watched by tens upon tens of thousands of people, I was in the program department. I answered emails. I basically procured videotapes and later digital files for movies. And for a lot of like the independent ones that would come in, like the independent Canadian ones, like I would wind up in the special thanks at the end of the credits because nice. I answered an email or something like that. Like
that's not just you. That's a lot of stuff at the end. Is probably that.
It's like, everyone, just to include
executive
everyone.
Producers. How many executive producers? Like the entire listing at the start of House of the Dragon is executive producers. I'm like, only 3 or 4 of these people actually made any decisions. Like, there's no way in hell all these people are in any way, movers and shakers.
Not at all. It's probably just in case they sue us later on for something. Oh, well, credit is so I'm in the special thanks for probably about 20 odd movies, probably from 2007 to 2016.
Why isn't that an IMDb?
I know.
That's a legit thing.
I know. I don't even know which movies it is. I had to be told.
Legitimate.
I haven't even seen these movies or anything, and I had to be told that. Oh yeah, your name was in the credits for this. And,
my favorite bit of Super Channel lore is when I was in Master Control once, and they were filming something for Global across the parking lot, and they decided, well, we got to host this in Master Control because it looks futuristic, and everybody has this stupid idea, and it never does. Right? But I had to sit there, and they thought they said, you look like you're green screen because you're not moving. I'm like, that's because I'm not not trying to disturb your shot. Oh, you should be moving. We need more dynamism in the background. So I had to pretend I was hitting buttons, which if I had done that would have disrupted broadcast.
Yeah.
So anyway, it's just it shows how dumb TV is. It just is dumb.
Very dumb. I know. People think that it's a switcher. It looks futuristic. Let's use it for the controls of the Death Star. And
it only looks futuristic if you're an anchor who's like at the time in the 90s in their 40s.
Yeah.
So just bear all that in mind.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, Doctor Who Am I coming to DVD in the UK November 7th. There's the headline that you need right there. Also coming to various Amazon's coming to Amazon on October 31st. The Blu-ray set for the Doctor Who Daleks and the vinyl. So for both of the two Dalek movies, they're coming on a Blu-ray, and the soundtracks are coming out on gorgeous looking vinyl. Cover art and everything. They are really pushing hard on these things. I'm mildly surprised at how heavy they're leaning into these two Dalek movies for the 4K release in the UK. These might show up in North America
I think it's
later,
more just that they're releasing it as this combination of stuff.
Like
you get the Blu-ray and the vinyl as a set.
Yeah, that is. Well, I mean, the fact that the vinyl exists too is interesting.
Man, it's kind of cool. Even if you don't have a player, it's still kind of cool to have it.
Yeah, I don't have a player.
Yeah,
I don't.
No, I don't either.
No, got no room for it.
They're also 70 pounds a set, and so they ain't cheap.
That's true.
Yeah, you might as well get something snazzy and extra.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't have many records, and I have no way to play them. But I bet you can guess which band's albums I have that are part of my collection.
The Kinks.
Suede.
It is Suede.
The Killers.
Peter Cetera.
It's all Led Zeppelin. That's all I have, pretty much.
No Chicago for me, but Peter Cetera, that's where it's at.
Oh, Peter
Steely
Cetera.
Dan.
Chicago hates Peter Cetera. Oh, have you ever watched the very self-serving Chicago documentary that was on Netflix and maybe still is? They just hate Peter Cetera.
I'm going to stop you right there. I'm never going to watch any self-serving documentary. Certainly not one about Chicago.
No, it's much less. It's much more self-serving, Warren, than the one about the Eagles, a band that we also dislike, but like the documentary for.
And I should mea culpa. I just watched the very self-serving Obi-Wan behind-the-scenes documentary. Every one of those Disney ones I watched, Marvel Assembled, all that crap, completely self-serving. So I'm a complete hypocrite.
Yeah. We watched the Marvel Assembled for Thor: Love and Thunder last night. So
What are those things about? Is it like Doctor Who Confidential?
Just making of, but it's all like, we're a good family, blah, blah, blah. You know, the usual bump.
Right.
And, but it's fun to watch all the behind the scenes stuff. Just kind of ignore all the actor talk.
I was very surprised to actually see Christian Bale participate in that. Because I would have sworn he would not.
He seems like
he
a
would
type
not,
of person
not
that would
stoop to that, but he did.
I think he's mellowed out over the years, from what I can tell.
Not on screen, that's for sure. Anyway. I couldn't last 3 minutes of the big score. What was it called? The big score, the big sleep, the big
those are all different things.
The Big Sleep is a Humphrey Bogart film.
The one about,
I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
What's it called? The 2008
Big Short. The Big Short. It's a good book. I've read the book. The book's excellent, actually.
I got 3 minutes into that, and Chris Bale was just like doing his acting thing. It says, "Nope, I can't do this. I cannot."
It's okay. Isn't that by the same guy that made the Don't Look Up? That's a guy who thinks he's a lot more important a filmmaker than he is. He makes 3-star movies that he thinks are 4-star movies.
Oh, I'm okay. Well, thank you. I'm never going back to that movie then. Thank you for the warning. What I am going back, I don't know how to segue to this. The Audible Snowman, they had the thing at the BFI last week, and because it's out on Blu-ray in the UK.
Ordered it.
It's not coming out here until December.
I know.
Crying out loud. But Gary Russell, as he said to me personally on stage at Gallifrey 1 when we did the panel about the animation for the Abominable Snowman, back then just in its sort of finalizing stages. He talked about the recasting of white actors. Basically, for the animated version, they didn't draw Norman Jones with a slight makeup alteration to make him look, quote unquote, Asian. They actually made the characters look Asian in the animation, even though the voices don't quite match. So
no problem with that.
How else would you do that? Can you imagine if they like that'd be really. That would be a choice.
The very idea is that this is an approximation and an artistic rendering of a other thing. So why not do it, quote unquote, properly? You know what I mean?
Exactly. That's what I think.
So now it's time to round up and destroy all copies of like Talons of Weng Chiang and redo it in animation.
Yep.
So to fix its egregious error, or Marco Polo if they ever actually animate that.
Outside chance you may be extrapolating for laughs there, Chris.
A wee bit.
Just a little bit. But for Marco Polo, if they ever actually do any more animations,
that's true. Yeah,
that would be an excellent candidate for correction.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you'd absolutely have to do that. Yeah, I just started watching Talons of Weng Chiang in my quest to the 60th rather last night, episode 1. It's a great story. It is a great story with a horrendous bit of yellowface in it, but it is a great story. And I accept both. I accept both because when who are we more offended by the yellowface, or are we more offended that white people like us did the yellowface back in the 70s? It's
a little of both.
A little of both. A little of both. As watching it, I think, what if we were to do a remake of this and to have John Bennett made up like supposedly like a Chinese person, it would. I think what would be a great twist is sometime during the episode he comes in there and he takes off his yellow face makeup, because that admittedly was a thing that happened, at the time. That would
definitely be a thing that happened back then, yeah.
People dressed up supposedly as giant, to be all mystical and everything like that back in those days, and even in the movies, like the Charlie Chan movies, are some Swedish person, for some reason, Swedish people were taken to doing yellowface back in those days for the Charlie Chan movies.
What the hell?
Yeah.
Here's the thing, we would never remake the Talents of Weng Chiang. It just wouldn't happen in the first place. So but this is all quite a thought experiment.
It kind of reminds me of Ben Kingsley's character, the Mandarin, like basically he's just this guy dressing up, as a bit. Yeah.
Best act twist ever. I remember being in the theater laughing my butt off about that, and then hearing some fans very grumbly about this disrespect to the original character, and I'm like, no, this is brilliant. They're just going to keep going with this. This is awesome. I love it.
And apparently, is he on his own show, or he's coming back?
No, he's in Shang-Chi, and he's going to be in some other show.
He's in a show coming up. Yeah, that's what I saw.
But I can't remember which one it is.
They're all in shows. They're all going to get their own shows. They're all going to show up in other people's shows. Just keeps going along. Anyway, Mandalorian and the little baby Yoda guy are having adventures, and that's all I care about. All I care about right now.
We're aware of that, yes.
Next year, yes.
Next year, that's all I care about is those little guys.
Well, there's plenty of Bergerac to get to before that.
I know, but little baby Yoda and Mando.
And you're so happy that Picard's season 3 trailer is out, Stephen.
Oh, folks.
They're gonna sucker us again, man.
Brace
I'm gonna watch it.
yourself.
I'm gonna get mad.
Brace yourself for season 3 of Picard, I'm telling you.
Winter is coming.
Yeah, winter is coming. Anyway, let's be more positive here.
Season 2 of Star Trek Picard was, without a doubt, the worst season ever of Star Trek. I don't think there's been a worse season of Star Trek than season 2 of Star Trek Picard.
I can't, and I haven't watched all of Voyager or Enterprise for that matter, so I can't back you up or not. But I'm willing to believe you.
Not anywhere near as bad. Oh my God. Oh.
Although I have watched, I'm trying to plow through Voyager, and whenever Neelix says Mr. Vulcan, I'm like, what the hell is this? Nobody comes up and says, I don't know, Mr. Scandinavia or something. Like, that's kind of racist when you hear it down to it.
It is a bit, isn't it? It is a bit. Yeah, and they made season 3 of Picard immediately after making season 2. So you know what? They didn't learn anything from the worst season of Star Trek ever made. So look out.
More properly, they had no opportunity to get feedback to learn anything.
No, they did not.
Let's cross our fingers and hope for the best.
Did you guys watch?
Brace for the worst.
Did you watch the trailer for Willow?
No, I don't.
Yes, I did. It looks kind of fun.
It looks kind of fun, and I'm so glad they got Kevin Pollak back as the brownie.
Did they?
Oh,
I totally forgotten he was in that.
Oh.
No, they're like little fairy creatures.
Oh, okay. No, I didn't. I've only seen Willow, I think, maybe twice. I don't remember.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't mind the movie. I'm less emotionally invested in Willow to begin with, unlike Star Trek. So for me, it's like, that looks like fun, just like the original was. Big deal.
But it's precious IP that can be mined forever. So that's what's happening.
Like Mando and his little boy.
Yep, I know. That's my one. Give me that one. I think a little Babu Frick in there. I love that guy too. So
you've got a little pander bucket that everything gets pandered into. Gotcha.
They've heard my complaints. And okay, Steve, what can we do? What can we do to please you? Do you want more Mandalorian? I hate to break it to you.
Yeah. No one has heard your complaints except us. And the poor bedraggled listeners of this podcast. I apologize.
You don't need Babu Frick in there when you have the little the Amy, what's her name? Amy Sedaris, or her little
a little droid guy,
Phantom Menace robots or whatever.
Yeah. I don't care about them. I don't care. They're taking.
Well, they should get rid of them then. Steven doesn't care about them.
They're taking time away from Baby Yoda. I'm not calling him by his name. I know what his name. Do not wait for the translation. I know.
I agree with you on that. Like, I'm not calling him that name either. It's dumb. Baby
Baby
Yoda's a much better name.
They quite clearly have heard my pleas. They don't pair him off with unconvincing CG Luke, because he's just going to come back anyway, which he did. Just have adventures in space with Baby Yoda and his space dad Mandalorian, and that's what they're doing by the looks of it.
It must be amazing to live in a universe that revolves entirely around you. I wouldn't know.
Great. This is my only show. This is the Warren. I've been searching for 15 years in this Marvel
hell pit of streaming,
Disney-owned hell pit of streaming for a show that's finally targeted towards me and me alone. Let me have this. I
want to see the final shot, whatever it may be, of season 3. I want to hear some Led Zeppelin playing as he flies off in the distance. just for the extreme pandering only to you, and then the ratings, which we'll never see, just plummet because nobody but you cares.
I don't care. I don't want him to grow up. I want him to be a Toys R Us kid. I want him to just be little Baby Yoda. I don't want him to go become a Jedi. I don't want him to get kidnapped. I want him to be kept safe by Mandalorian.
He's going to get kidnapped. I guarantee he'll get kidnapped.
But he gets saved at the end of it. I don't want to. I want him to be happy and safe, and that's all I care about right now. Is those two little guys in all of Star Wars? That's all I care about. All
Babu Frick and you. What if they had their own cop show? Babu Frick and Baby Yoda.
No. Maybe.
Right.
Maybe that.
I guess that ends that story.
Maybe that. Anyway, let's oh God, we know how to waste time on this podcast. It's amazing. Let's
he says as we go into the biggest time waster of all.
Biggest time waster of them all.
The time waste. We'll just call it the time waste from now on.
Time waste, the Timelash, where we dip back in history. Thankfully nothing happened on Doctor Who history on September 11th, 2001. R.I.P. to everyone who's observing that solemn anniversary today. But that's where we start on this. A noted day in history in 1989, we'll say, because John Nathan Turner told Sylvester McCoy and Sophie Aldred that their contract option for next year will not be taken up. So I don't know where they were in the production schedule of Doctor. I know that McCoy came back and did the voiceover, the very last voiceover, on November 23rd, literally a week or two before the episode broadcast to record that the voiceover. But so they obviously knew that there's gonna be no Doctor Who next year. So
yeah. Equally as importantly, 1987 when the original score for Paradise Towers got kiboshed and allowed Warren's appreciation for the story to exponentially increase because Kev McCulloch got an emergency commission.
That's right.
Love him so much.
Yep. Have you heard on the David Snell, the bit that was completed?
It's on the DVD, yeah.
It's not good. It's very... I don't know if you... I don't
guess
know
what else isn't good, Kev McCulloch?
Oh, and Paradise Towers, some might argue, but...
I like Paradise Towers.
I don't know. I don't know how to feel about Paradise Towers, Chris. I don't know.
I like it.
Why do you like it though? That's what, why don't I like it, and why should I like it? But I like it. I don't know.
I mean, I could do without all the caretaker stuff, I think, but I like all the Kang stuff.
Well, I mean, sometimes stuff just strikes you as you like it. Like The Invisible Enemy. There are a bunch of reasons I shouldn't. I still enjoy it anyway. Maybe Paradise Towers is the same for Chris.
Yeah, maybe.
It's like well, I mean, honestly, it's like everyone talks like silly like and children like, but then like look what's happened to the Republican Party since then. And like I'm just like
yep,
right. I mean, they talk about a bunch of nonsense too, really. So yeah, that checks out. All right, Paradise Towers in my top 10 now, thanks to that. But
wow, what a roller coaster that was.
I still have yet to get to the Blu-ray of Galaxy 4, episode 1 of which went out on this day in 1965.
Oh, 400 Dawns, look at that, yeah. With director Derek Martinez's first foray into Doctor Who in an episode that no longer exists. But somebody captured the opening seconds of it on Home Movie, which includes the nice tracking shot, a nice crane shot from on top of the TARDIS console down to focus on the Doctor at the console with Vicky and Steven, Vicky cutting Steven's hair in the background. And it's a more impressive shot than is seen in the animated version, because the animated version is just like a static wide shot of everyone in the same scene. Thinking,
Well, it's a real pain to animate, frankly. So
yeah.
I don't blame them.
It would be very much a pain to animate, but yep. I don't remember what happens in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, everybody, but I do remember an 8mm off-screen recording of the opening shot of Galaxy 4.
No one is surprised by that. Not one person.
No. Not a single clue. Anything else from September 11th? Strike your... I'm going to point out an error before you point it out. Hugh David, the director, was not born in 1987. He likely died on September 11th, 1987, though. I'll say that much.
Oh, wow. Poor guy.
Seeing that he directed Doctor Who in the 60s, it was tough for him to do that 20 years before he was born. Or is it?
He was a very, very talented and incredible person, you see.
That's true. Good old Hugh David. That person with 2 first names. Not to be trusted.
Well, which is it? Which is it, man?
Pick one!
Yes, he was born 1925, apparently.
There we go. Did he die September 11th, 1987? Am I right about that?
Yes, he did. Age 62.
Huge anniversary, everyone. So September...
Shake for feedback on that one.
September 12th, 1963. The BBC announces Doctor Who to the press. How about that? Even then, 2 months before, 2.5 months before broadcast, at least we knew that Doctor Who existed, which is a far.
I'm trying to imagine the press's reaction to this. Like, what the? Just rolling of the eyes.
Yeah.
Whatever.
And what is this? I don't know.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So there you go. The people first found out about it in September 12th, 1963. That's exciting. I kind of want, like, what was the press coverage back then? Was it like a front page
press
news?
conference? Huge
No.
press conference.
Yeah. New show to debut between the football skulls and the Telegoons on Saturday afternoons.
Pandering to children with an old man on
Yep.
Doctor Who.
Kindly be there. There's an old man and a granddaughter for some reason. Don't ask why.
And wrap around to a year later, we have the last episode of season one debuting as well.
Oh, what a wow that is. 1 whole year between the announcement and the end of their first season. Wow.
I love the title, Prisoners of Conciergerie, like you're being held hostage by butlers or something.
Never quite understood what was going on in the Reign of Terror. It's an early historical where basically Doctor Who and his companions are very much observers of history and not instigators therein, you know? But has a nice ending scene where the Doctor says, our destiny is in the stars, so let's go search for them. Which is something you'd expect Jean-Luc Picard to say in season 2 of Star Trek. Picard, the worst season of Star Trek ever made. But it works for Doctor Who in 1964.
Anthony Ainley contracted to play the Master in Keep Your Tracking in Logopolis, with an option for 8 further episodes in season 19.
Which they sure exercised.
And we all know how that worked out, don't we?
They picked it up. That's not bad. That's, you know what? You know why that's not bad? It's because usually, well, maybe not Castrovalva, but certainly for Time Flight, he gets paid for a whole episode and he appears literally in the cliffhanger, or under makeup, I suppose. Speaking of weird Asian-esque makeup in Time Flight.
But in the words of Kate Lethbridge-Stewart, there's a precedent for that. Because, how many times was Delgado in a row, the baddie, which I loved. It was great. I wasn't complaining. But they certainly did that before.
They didn't. I don't know. I'm trying to think. I don't think Delgado.
There was a lot of Delgado.
Well, yeah,
Delgado.
Well, I know that, but he never showed up at the very end of an episode. They always said, "Oh, there he is, right there."
No. Except with the Dalek one.
In season 8, sometimes it'd be halfway through a story before he showed up.
Like Colony in Space.
Oh, I'm wrong.
Yeah.
The Dalek showed up with him. Never mind.
Yeah,
it was withdrawn.
Where are we at here? So, this is exciting. I know that recording took place for Resurrection of the Daleks in 1983, but Paul McGann, 1994, September 12th. Paul McGann auditions to play the Doctor in the Doctor Who TV movie. That early, wow! Like just to give you an indication of how long this was the work. So he was only cast in January of 96, I think. Literally before, like a couple weeks before they started shooting, I think, is when they actually finally cast him. So.
Film takes forever till it doesn't, basically.
Yeah. So, I mean, if you want to know the whole story, watch the 7-year Hitch.
Excellent.
Right,
stuff.
it's straddling on the DVD when it comes out. Yeah, it's very good. Very, very good indeed. And then a whole bunch of modern Who was under production in the 2000s, including Time of the Doctor. Your favorite? No, it's your favorite story, Warren. Your favorite Doctor Who story of all time?
That is not true, but I do like it a lot more than most people. So
That's true.
I think it's great. I think it's a lot of fun, and it's very touching at the end.
It is. Good old Matt Smith. And it has Tasha Lem in it, who is played by Orla Brady, who was in...
who was in Star Trek
who was
2 and 1 of Picard.
Yeah, but we're fans of her.
Best thing about that season, actually.
Yeah. Well...
I'm glad you can tie it all back to Star Trek Picard Season 2.
That's what we're doing. That's what we're doing today.
Oh, I never said it was great. I just said it was the best thing about Season 2 Picard.
Yeah. It's a side note. I don't want to spoil it because people might not have watched it yet. But a character because I had complained about I can't remember where I complained about this about Lord of the Rings Far Side of the World. No, the Rings of Power. That's what it is. Had next to no Doctor Who actors in it apart from Lenny Henry. Well, one shows up in episode 3, and I didn't know that he was until Chris pointed it out to me. But it's someone from Haunting of Villa Diodati. So
who I recognize from years and years more than Doctor Who.
Oh, well, there we go. So, but okay, so that's two that I'm counting so far. That it's of course Wayne Yip.
I've got a feeling Rings of Power is going to be like Game of Thrones, was hiring literally every Brit actor in existence.
Well, maybe next year when they're shooting it in the UK. They shot this season in New Zealand,
yep.
So yeah. So thus my interest in the show will ramp up as the superb geography of New Zealand winds down and everything becomes dreary England in Middle Earth for the next few years. Anyway. Let's move on to September 13th. Happy birthday, Alan Bromley, ruiner of Doctor Who. We mentioned him last week, didn't we? Or a couple weeks ago about the blow-up between him and Tom Baker? Yeah.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, I thought so. Anything jump out at you on September 13th? Apart from...
tests of the TARDIS materializing and dematerializing. Like... That'd be pretty cool for coming even like how do you come up with the idea of that? How do you come up with the realization of that idea in 1963?
Something quick and cheap. Dissolve. Here we go.
Dissolve.
What can we do with this editing deck? We can dissolve. What else? Dissolve. That's about it.
Got from one to the. So here we go. There's one here. Here's your preview monitor. Here's your program monitor.
Yeah, honestly, I bet you. At the time, Dissolve was probably high-tech stuff. So, I mean, because all you could do is cut otherwise, right? So
kind of was.
So they probably made do with the most high-tech thing they could do, which it's still a cool effect.
Yeah.
I mean,
and Star Wipe. And Star Wipe.
Yeah.
And Star Wipe.
This is several years before Star Wipe.
I'm trying to think. I mean, we were just saying, it's a complicated effect, and it only happens... We don't see the TARDIS materialization happen... at the end of the first episode. We only see it disappear on film at the end of the story. We don't see it materialize. I think the first on-screen materialization is at the very end of the Daleks. I think. It doesn't happen often. It does not happen often. It's a time-consuming thing. The old roll back.
And now it doesn't
mix.
need to. You can hear the sound. You're good to go.
Exactly.
You don't really need to see it.
Yeah. Matt,
I don't know what it's going to do. So.
I'm amazed that, by the way, here BBC, the BBC's announcing that there's a new show and they had yet to even work out how to dematerialize the TARDIS at that point. I mean, I would have figured that out first. It's okay, we got it. We're going to roll back and mix. You can now announce Doctor Who. We'll be fine.
I do remember somebody asked me how they did it, and I just, to show them, I was like, I just shot on my phone, just propped my phone up, shot my TARDIS, like my toy TARDIS, one of several, and then just moved that out of the shot, and then I cut it together in 20 minutes, and I said, this is how they do it.
Right.
Like, it's just a dissolve with sound effect. It's super easy to do.
Yeah, well, they did it even quicker.
But at the time, it probably wasn't super easy to do.
No, they did it even quicker in those days. It's when you didn't have much time in the studio, it's like, okay, take a picture of what it looks like now, lock it off, have it there, and then mix. There you go.
Yep.
And it's done. What else we got here happening on September 13th?
I want to know what staff clearance means for Philip Martin to write Time Lord. What is a staff clearance?
They had to seek out staff clearance for Philip Martin. He must have been writing on something else at the time, and they had to.
Yeah, maybe, yeah.
There's a lot of that going around. It usually happened for script editors, like when Eric Sayward needed to write something. Well, it's an emergency, so we better get him to write this. Other times he would just say, "No, it wasn't written by me at all. It was written by my girlfriend, Paula Woolsey," and we'll just credit it as Paula
She's Canadian
Moore.
and not in this picture.
Yeah, exactly.
But she totally exists.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Anyway, as we kick further, if you listen, broadcast this day, September 13th, 2014. What a great story. Stephen Moffat episode in the middle.
Which really shouldn't work.
good.
I'm still baffled every time. I love it. I watch it. I love it. The ending is really, really, really touching, but I don't understand why. I don't. And maybe it's better I don't. I don't know.
Yeah. Chris, you like this one?
Oh, I adore Listen so much.
It's very good.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt, Chris.
No.
No, it's all good.
That's all? You just love it?
I love it unabashedly. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a Doctor Who story with like 3 people in it. It's one of those great Moffat things where he can do where he just sort of like the Girl Who Waited wasn't written by Moffat, but it's in the Moffat era where it's like, here is the Doctor, here is Clara, here's Danny Pink, here is Orson Pink.
Yeah.
Here's a thing under a blanket. Whatever that is.
The Big Bang would be a closer comparison, but even still, yeah.
Yeah. It's
Although
excellent.
now that we have the Timeless Children, I watch the end and I'm like, how does this tie in and why am I trying to figure this out?
Yeah, don't try to figure it out. At some point, he is a young boy in a barn.
Exactly. Yeah.
Whatever happens before that is unknown, and that's fine, Warren. It's
also,
fine.
I love thinking that's a young William Hartnell. It's like basically if you watch What We Do in the Shadows, Cullen Robinson as a young man, that's what they're doing with a young William Hartnell.
Right.
It's basically William Hartnell's face with hair, and brown hair, and a kind of kid's body.
They should have CG'd a deep fake young William Hartnell onto the face of this boy. It would look great. Superb.
Yeah, it'd be much more effective than what we got, which was letting our brains do the work for us.
Yeah.
How would a de-aged William Hartnell, Grand Moff Tarkin style?
Gross.
Yeah, there's no need for any of that. Hey, you know what works? What we've been doing for 100 years. That's what works.
Yeah. You know what? It's as I watch, this is a side side quest I was going to say, but there's a show called Paper Girls, which everyone was looking forward to, and it came out on Amazon Prime, and it got canceled, in quick, short order. A lot of people are very upset, and it's unfortunate. I never watched it. I didn't think I was ever going to, but it felt like a smaller type of adventure show. But it probably didn't get the numbers, and so therefore, it didn't get Lord of the Rings numbers, so out it goes. And I feel like, man, the big budget nature of entertainment has now infested the streaming world, where all these films and TV shows were supposed to go to, because they've been crowded out of the box office with big Marvel movies. And I look at an episode like Listen with 4 people in it, and I think that is perfect Doctor Who. That is how you tell a perfect Doctor Who story. It's not done cheaply, it's done minimally, and I like that, and I appreciate that. And I feel like an episode like Listen might not be made nowadays. It almost feels antiquated because of what it's going up against. So pour one out to Listen.
I was going to say RTD is not that type of maker of things, but that's not true, because Midnight is kind of in its own way sort of thing. It's an experimental, weird thing.
It is. I know. That's the one thing that people always sort of gravitate onto. It's the one thing that people say, wow, this is really great. Why he should do more of these. Nah, we're going to have the Master eat a bunch of weird things and jump around and shoot lightning out of his hands.
Well, he contains multitudes, and I'm crossing my fingers that those multitudes will be interesting for the next iteration several years hence, or whatever it is.
All right, on to September 14th here in the time waste. Like this, on or around this date, we don't know for sure. Jean Marsh, 1965, September 14th. On or around this date, Jean Marsh is cast as Sarah Kingdom. John Wiles and Donald Tosh briefly developed Sarah as a new companion to replace Katharina before deciding that no, she's not going on either. Wow, they were really indecisive, weren't they? They came up with 2 companions and then killed them, basically, because they didn't like them in the space of writing about them.
Why did you kill him? Well, we didn't like him.
Yeah, I didn't like him. No. Why'd you make Katarina? I didn't like her. Why did you create her then? Whatever.
I mean, it's especially somebody like having, getting Jean Marsh back because she was in the Crusades. Mm-hmm. And then like, nah. J.K.
Like,
lol, nah.
Yeah.
Television is dumb, as we've said before, and we'll almost certainly say again.
So fly by the seat of your pants there. It's so weird. It especially when basically Jean Marsh and Sarah Kingdom is doing the exact same thing that Brett Vion was doing for the first 4 episodes of the show, of Dalek's Master Plan. And then she kills him and then basically just carries on doing Brett Vion's part. It's very odd. It's no reason for that to happen.
That's their management style.
Yeah, I guess so. It's like, what if we had someone else do your exact same part? All right, says Nicholas Courtney. And then he says, I'll never work at Doctor Who again. He storms out the door after getting written out. Which of course
this goes to show they didn't need 2 characters for one task, I guess.
Guess not,
And speaking of other weird stuff as well, episode 1 of The Mind Robber goes out in 1968. And on the same day, 2006, death of Peter Ling, the writer of The Mind Robber.
The same day. Oddly
same
enough,
day.
Well, Peter Ling didn't write that episode at all. It was Derek Sherwin who wrote episode 1 of The Mind
Peter
Robber.
Ling, was it not?
You know what? I don't think there was a writer credit on there because
We'll look that one up here.
Yeah, look that one up because of course episode 1 of The Mind Robber came about because Derek Sherwin didn't like the Dominators, and so curtailed that to 5 episodes from 6, and the BBC said, well, you still need another episode, you dingbat. And so he says, well, speaking of Doctor Who in minimalist settings, they basically had to write an entire episode leading into The Mind Robber that featured no new sets and no new actors. And that's why The Mind Robber Part 1 was like it was, which is brilliant.
No, okay, there we are. I'm
still fixated on dingbat.
Yeah, Peter, uncredited episode 1, Derek Sherwin. Yeah.
There we are.
All right. Even still, Peter Ling wrote the rest of the thing, or is credited as having written the rest of it.
Look at that. Do you think this is a time waste? Just learn something about Doctor Who.
There's lots
it's still
lots
a time waste, though.
Yeah.
Always lots to learn.
So much to learn about Doctor Who. It's great. It's fabulous. Anything else jump out at you on September 14th at all?
Only my own brain reading Nicholas Courtney's Contractor for Invasion of the Dinosaurs, and I misread that as Contractor for Dinosaurs as Spaceship, and my head goes, that can't be right.
That wasn't right
and
at
it
all.
turns out it wasn't. I'm insane.
Yeah. Now it would be like Nicholas Courtney contracted COVID-19 for, but that was not. That also did not happen.
That would be pretty impressive for somebody who was dead years before COVID-19.
Yeah, he was impressive, though.
Patient 0. Okay, I'm going to stop this right now.
That's wrong. That is wrong. Let's move on to September 15th. What happened September 15th, you say? Well, Malcolm Hulke was commissioned to write Colony in Space on September 15th, 1970.
Commies in Space.
Yep.
Well, he is.
I like it. I like Colony in Space.
I love it. I think it's great.
Yeah. Always have. Like all of Malcolm Hulke's stuff. Even the dinosaurs. Even Invasion of the Dinosaurs. I like that.
I love Invasion of the Dinosaurs. I mean, it's not his fault the dinosaurs look like crap.
No. It's 1974's fault that the dinosaurs look like crap.
Exactly. And reading the book, they didn't look like crap in my head, so.
Well, they did in mine, actually. I did imagine them to be like really unconvincing rubber monsters and stuff, so.
That's what's so good about it now, watching this. It's just an added bonus.
Kind of is, actually, Like, look at Jurassic Park. Bunch of tryhards making their dinosaurs look real,
Yeah, well, here's the thing. Jurassic World Dominion, wildly panned. Everybody said, the dinosaur stuff's boring now. I'm like, you know what's not boring? A dinosaur looks like a sock fighting a Jeep. It's great. Who cares? The whole point is it looks like crap.
I don't know what's the whole point. Here's the thing. They really tried hard to make them look good, and you just didn't know what to do.
It's a glorious failure. Sometimes failure is better, in a way.
Three kinds of dinosaurs, too.
Yeah, there was a Brontosaurus and a T-Rex and...
Stegosaurus.
Oh, I say
And the Golden Age story, it's a cool idea. It's a great idea.
It is a great story. Underrated. So is Colony in Space, which Malcolm Hulke was commissioned to write on this day in history in 1970. 1982, a photo call held to introduce Mark Strickson as your new companion, Turlo.
What a dreamboat.
Yeah, I'm watching, I'm looking at the Twitter feed right now of I don't know what to call it, Doctor Who 1982. It's basically 40 years, day-to-day production history of Doctor Who. It's great.
I follow that too,
yeah. And right now they're in the midst of shooting studio footage for Modern Undead, which of course is Turlo's first story. So it makes sense that because they knew that the crowds would come out in the remote hillside that they shot large portions of that in there for people to go, who is this new person? Is he the new companion? I'm going to leak this to 1982 Twitter and tell everyone about it. And so that's why they had to announce it. Probably not. And then several things were made in the 2000s. Yes, Chris.
Well, sorry. I was going to say, what would 1982 Twitter be? Like, what exactly would that be? A telegraph of some sort?
Well,
one of those ticker tape things with stocks?
It would
fanzines?
be...
I guess, yeah, it would be fanzines, you're right.
The Falklands War would be trending in the fanzines of the day.
With some funny hashtag.
Yeah. I think they were just Post-it notes, I think, in those days. They're just people put things on Post-it notes. And
let's go back to that. Wouldn't that be great?
Stuck them on lampposts. What's on Twitter today? Let's go check out the nearest lamppost. Oh.
Where's the town crier?
Yeah. Falklands War, apparently, is happening.
Would that be the Twitter post, then?
That would be the Twitter post. Can't top that. Moving on. September 16th. We got 2 more days of this. 2 more days, folks, of wasting your time on this Sunday in September as we wait for no new Doctor Who news. Patrick Troughton, big day in history. September 16th, 1966. Patrick Troughton is contracted to play the second Doctor Who in the quote-unquote renewal sequence at the end of 10th Planet. I hope he was given a contract for after that as well. It was kind of assumed that he's carrying on to do the rest of the episodes after that, because it would be awkward if
I wonder if there's a lag between this and actually deciding that the series was continuing. Because I mean, I would. At the end of the day, 10th Planet was partway through the 4th season.
Yeah.
So maybe I don't know how much of the 4th season was commissioned when Troughton was hired.
Yeah. That's a very good question, because they have to have been planning. I was watching The War Machines last night because I'm going to be on the Missing Episodes podcast again. And how they had there was Innes Lloyd, the producer at the time, was sort of informed that, by the way, because he's pretty much brand new, by the way, William Hartnell needs to have a holiday worked into around February 1967. So at that time, even with the War Machines being made in early July 1966, it was they were still going on. So I think they were still planning the episodes, but they hadn't obviously got the scripts in. So, but then July 16th, Hartnell says, "No, I'm done. I'm gonna have to quit." And then, literally within 2 months, they already cast a new Doctor, and I imagine they probably contracted him to be in the show from Power of the Daleks onwards. This is me guessing, but then they probably had to get a special contract for that one episode appearance at the end of 10th Planet Part 4.
Maybe, yeah.
If that makes any sense to you, or indeed to the listeners whose time is being wasted right now.
Sounds complicated.
Television sometimes, Warren, is stupid, but also complicated.
That's a great potent mix right there.
Yeah. 2014 on September 16th, Michael Hayes, the director of Androids of Tara? I don't know. What did he direct? I'm losing track now. He directed Androids of Tara, Armageddon Factor, and City of Death. Died in 2014. And he seems like a nice fellow on the DVD commentaries and stuff. So how's that?
Also, I know people don't like Armageddon Factor, but that's a pretty good run of episodes. Really,
not bad at all. I think. Yeah. I think he must have been in the Miniscope. I think we've done Michael Hayes in the Miniscope many moons ago, but. whatever episode that is. I don't know. I imagine Chris is probably Googling it right now to determine what that is. But
RFS 415.
415. Wow.
March 30th, 2014.
He was still alive. Oh,
Glory years. Yeah. The glory years of not Trump. There we go.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, you're right. He was still alive. And not for too much longer, as it happens, I guess.
How about that? Wow. Well, lastly, the September 17th.
Well, I'm just going to go back to...
what do you got?
16th. 1982, Christopher Bailey commissioned to write Maytime.
Maytime.
So is that going to be Kinda
or Snake Dance? It's got to be Snake Dance, yeah.
Yeah.
No. Really? No, I don't think that's right because...
Or is that something else?
Yeah, because they've already made Snake Dance. It's done. It's another one. They commissioned him to write a story. It just never worked out, I guess. So, yeah. I imagine Big Finish has probably done it. I imagine whatever it is, whatever Maytime was at the time, it's been retitled and put out by Big Finish. Almost guaranteed.
Very probably.
Yeah.
And then as well, a little bit later on, 88 for Ben Aronovich for Battlefields. Commission.
Probably that was a 3-part version too, I bet. And then later on,
that would make sense.
It comes 4 parts, yeah. Back
in. Yeah, so I was looking at Maytime here.
Okay. What we got here?
Yeah, so it was after Snake Dance. Yeah, script editor Eric Sayward requested that Bailey devise another story idea. The initial outline for Maytime was commissioned August 24th, 1982.
Or September 16th, according to our records.
The initial outline was commissioned August 24th. And the script was commissioned September.
There it is.
And was about the Doctor and his companions arriving at the court of Byzantium. Full scripts were commissioned on 16th September. 1982.
Right.
With the new title Man Watch. Sounds like gay porn.
Straight to Puerile.
That.
But the scripts were dropped from production for unclear reasons.
Another
storyline under the title The Children of Seth was commissioned on 14th July 1983, but was not developed further. It was later adapted by Mark Platt for Big Finish's The Lost Stories in December 2011.
I would very much like for Man Watch to be simply the Doctor Who characters walking into Gambit from Blake 7. Anyway, sorry, Stephen, you go ahead.
I remember hearing about the Children of Seth before, and I keep thinking it was the Children of Seth from Horns of Nimon, Seth and Tika.
Seth and Tika?
Yeah, I thought maybe they went off and had babies together, and
especially if their children. One of the children is named Masala.
There's a semi-famous indie cartoonist Canadian called Seth, who I think he's won a bunch of awards. Anyway, whenever I hear Children of Seth, that's what I think of. I'm like, oh, okay. Why is this indie Canadian cartoonist being called about? No, he isn't. Of course he's not. But that's what I think of first.
Right. Well. Goodness me. Where we waste time on this. One more day left. We're running out of music. We have to wrap this up. Brian, this is hilarious. 1965. Brian Hales is commissioned to write the last 3 episodes of The Celestial Toy Maker. Let me tell you, whatever went to screen wasn't written by Brian Hales. So, he got money for stuff that wasn't actually his. So
the best scam. Best scam.
Absolutely.
I mean, he still had to put the work in, though.
Yeah, for it to be thrown out. I mean, we can't throw something out if you haven't written it first. So, Brian Hales, could you write something that we can...
You have just summed up the TV writing process perfectly.
Right? Exactly. That Donald Tosh is going to have to look at and rewrite, and then Jerry Davis is going to have to look at and rewrite, and it's going to be bad. And we'd like you to start the ball rolling on that, please. And so we did.
And then the year after, episode 2 of The Smugglers goes out. Whilst they're recording The 10th Planet. So not much of a lead time there.
No. No, wait. Well, they recorded Smugglers immediately after War Machines. So...
No, I know, but 10th Planet went out after Smugglers. So, I mean, there's not much of a lead time for the recording of The 10th Planet before it went out.
I see what you mean. Sorry, yeah. That's what I get. Yeah. Well, that was TV back then. They thought, we got 2 weeks. We're fine. And then they lost a week, and then they're literally going 6 days.
We're not fine at all.
We're not fine at all. Yeah. By the end of season 4. So fraught with difficulty. Speaking of fraught with difficulty, 1980, on September 17th, a labor dispute cancels recording for Warriors Gate.
But not for long enough.
No. I wonder if that was the same labor dispute, because there was a big spat, because the very opening tracking shot, literally the first thing they shoot, Paul Joyce shoots, they do that big tracking shot through the spaceship, and you can see the lighting rig quite clearly.
Oh, right, yeah.
And so I think the lighting team was says, wait a second, this isn't supposed to be seen. If you're including it on camera, then we have to be that was it, and so there was a dispute, and so that stopped. I think that might be the same thing. The whole theme of this Timelash, and indeed this whole episode, is television is nuts, and it makes no sense. But
no, it makes no sense at all.
Not at all. Let's end on this because it's pretty notable. 2002, September 17th, 2002, BBC One's controller of programs, Lorraine Hennessy, confirms during a radio interview that preliminary discussions are being held about bringing Doctor Who back to television. Wow. Mm-hmm. I don't remember what I was thinking of today. Yeah, 2002. Yeah. Yeah, they're about a year and a bit away from the official announcement, but it's a long time.
If I had heard that, which I hadn't, but I would have thought, yeah, as if. Like, I wouldn't have bought it. Right? I'm like, why betray my trust again?
We'd heard that so many times in the last several years, thinking, all right, whatever. Someone for BBC probably just said, oh, yeah, we like Doctor Who. And, like, because you wouldn't say, no, Doctor Who's terrible. Let's keep it dead forever. No one would ever say that.
Except for Michael Grade.
Except for me. Very true. Very true. All right. Anything else? Is that it? Is that for our Timelash?
That's it.
Death of Louis Marks.
Yeah, I know, but I wanted to end on a positive. We already had the death of our queen here. This, just saying that's all. But
yeah, I know. But
I don't know. He died.
He wrote some okay stuff. I like the idea for Planet of Giants, even though it kept getting pushed back.
Mm-hmm.
And I like Planet of Evil. So
yeah, Massacre Madraga we don't talk about. David Alex also good. Some more Tat stuff before we get the hell out of here. The Black Archive books, which are great, by the way, several have come out, but they have now bundled volumes 21 through 30 into a nice sale package. That's like 25% off, or perhaps more. My math is bad. For the paperback and for the ebook, the electronic editions. That's the versions I have. 10 different ones: Heaven Sent, Hellbent, Curse of Fennec, Time Warrior, Doctor Who TV movie, Demons, Face of Evil, Love and Monsters, Impossible, Astronaut Day of the Moon, and The Dalek Invasion of Earth. All are part of this bundle. They are great books. So if you want to pick up a whole bundle, you can. Volumes 21 to 30 from Obverse Books. Links in the show notes at radiofreescaro.com. Some Big Finish stuff. We probably won't hear much.
Missed the Humble Bundler, sir.
Oh, yes, I did.
I can feel this one. As
Tell us about the Humble Bundle, Warren.
So, which I just bought before we recorded. For you can spend, I think, a minimum of $23. I spent $30. It all goes to charity, children in need. But what it is it's Cubicle 7's got a ton of TDFs of all their Doctor Who role-playing game. This is the first edition, not the second edition, which is coming out soon. But from what I've heard, the second edition is a lot of tweaking and fine-tuning, and so you can still play the game just as you would normally with this stuff. A lot of it's background source book stuff. Like, I need the stats for, as I was saying to Chris earlier, the Jacondans. Why you would need this, I don't know, but if you want to write an adventure with Jacondans, you sure can, because the stats are in there, because it's my random look at all these PDFs.
That's awesome.
So it's well worth getting. Also, if you're a RPGist and you enjoy Doctor Who, listen to the game of Rassilon by several friends of the show, which is them playing the game and making a podcast.
Right. And it's for a good cause, too. Children in need, too. So, Humble Bundle. Cubicle 7 games. That's awesome. Thank you. Thank you for pointing that out, Chris. I had forgotten to open that link, so that's superb. Links in the show notes for that, too. radiofreescar.com. And some Big Finish. We won't hear much from Big Finish this week because of the official period of mourning. Indeed, any official Doctor Who entities. But some stuff came out this past week, which includes the Seventh Doctor Adventures Sullivan and Cross AWOL is coming out November 2022. The Eighth Doctor Adventures What Lies Inside, also same month, November 2022. And the 42, not 42, 42, the second Fifth Doctor Adventures set 40 is now available from bigfinish.com. Wrapping this thing up, The Hugo Awards were handed out last Sunday night. There were no Doctor Who winners or even nominees at all. Not even the standard perfunctory Doctor Who story was nominated in the best dramatic presentation short form. But I'm happy to say that Uncanny Magazine won the best semi-prozine again after not winning it last year, which means another
congratulations,
thank you, another pair of Hugo Awards are coming our way.
Just a side thing about the Hugos, I've seen talk that, and I don't know how much of it is anything more than talk, of getting rid of the dramatic presentation stuff because it's so unbalanced in terms of everything else is like semi-fanzine, it's like books, it's all the rest of it. And then all of a sudden you got these giant behemoth TV shows and movies and nobody ever comes to collect their awards because they don't care. That's scuttlebutt. That's not anything Hugos are officially saying. But I would like to point out the Aurora Awards, which is the Canadian version of this, or more like the Nebulas really. They have said, yeah, we're just going to get rid of the dramatic presentation stuff because it's, a bunch of Canadian authors, and then all of a sudden it's something that was shot in Canada. So they're like, to hell with this. Let's just keep it to books. That's what this is all about. So if Hugos, I would like to voice my support for the Hugos doing that. There's a ton of people already patting their own backs about TV and film. Right. Hugos don't need to do that too.
Well, you know what? To be fair, they did send. I mean, the people from the Expanse.
That's true.
Someone,
yes, the Expanse guys seem to be the exception that proves a rule here. But,
yeah, I don't remember who accepted on behalf of Dune, but it was directed by a Canadian, Denis Villeneuve.
That's true. It was. I mean, it's a little more nuanced than I'm making it out to be. But I've always felt that it seems like it's just kind of out of nowhere, all the big TV and film stuff compared to all the other, like more grassroots stuff, I guess.
Well, I remember one year the ceremony where they showed clips of the movies in question got the show yanked down from YouTube for copyright violations.
Yeah, exactly. So. There's that too. You don't have to do that with books.
Yeah, they never showed the clips though. No, it was a tight and bright ceremony. So good for Shy-Con for keeping it short and giving us the Hugo again. So. Anyway, on that note, let's wrap this sucker up. Next week, more Doctor Who nonsense. I don't know what's going on there. There won't be probably a new official Doctor Who news, but we will certainly, without a doubt, waste your time with Doctor Who related nonsense. That is a guarantee on this podcast. So join us.
Some Canadian stuff too.
Probably some Canadian stuff. We listen to our full-throated review of episode 4 of the Rings of Power. No, we're not going to do that. Don't worry.
Nope,
we won't. Unless there's a Doctor Who actor in there, which I will point out, and then in a spoiler-free review. Until next time, though, I am Stephen in Edmonton.
We're in Vancouver.
And Chris in Edmonton.
So long for now.
You've been listening to Radio Free Skaro. Find us online at radiofreeskaro.com. Follow us on Twitter and Tumblr at Radio Free Skaro. Subscribe to us on iTunes and donate to the show at patreon.com/Radio Free Skaro. Thank you.